porque estoy encantado con Brasilia, es una ciudad maravillosa. Segundo, muchas gracias por la invitación a los organizadores, felicitaciones también, Luis Quimei, de Bússola Tech, no sé dónde está Moisés Benamor, de la Organización de Estados Americanos, y después hay mucha gente conocida, también obviamente a las organizaciones del Congreso de Brasil, de ambas cámaras, y bueno, veo ahí a Claudio Nazareno, he visto hoy temprano a José Cepeda, a Kenneth Puig, ahí está Patricia Claudio, mucha gente conocida, así que es un placer estar aquí. Voy a hacer mi presentación en inglés. Lamentablemente la preparé en inglés, podría haber sido en español. Perfecto. Así que bueno, un placer y gracias por escucharme. 6 years ago, in 2018, I was directly involved in the relaunch of the G20 Parliamentary Speakers Summit, which had been initiated by the Senate of Canada in 2010, continued by the National Assembly of Korea in 2011, the Shura of Saudi Arabia in 2012, and the Senate of Mexico in 2013, with the continuity being broken by the State Duma of the Russia Federation in 2014. After this parliamentary summit was interrupted for 4 years between 2014 and 2017, not a fly flew, as we say in Argentina, that is, no one seemed to care. At the same time as national parliaments were left without a voice, new engagement groups were created within the G20 to give a voice to other interest groups, private corporations, unions, civil society, think tanks, the scientific community, women, young people, and the cities. At the end of 2013, the same year that the G20 engagement group for civil society was created, the meetings of national parliaments were abandoned. A paradox that exposes the difficulties that our democracies have historically faced and whose main victim is the legislative branch of government. In 2018, with Argentina holding the G20 presidency, we were aware of what had happened and relaunched this space reserved for parliaments with a new design that has proven successful over time. We assigned it a code like the rest of the G20 engagement groups. We proposed calling it P20. We also encouraged the IPU's strategic involvement following the rich experience acquired and duly tested in organizing the assemblies when they are held outside Geneva. We try to articulate the P20 not only with the G20, but also with the various engagement groups that have emerged over time and which today number 13, the 9 mentioned above, plus 4 new groups. The new groups are justice, startups, and small and medium-sized companies, audit authorities, and oceans. This last one created this year by Brazil's initiative. This is how in 2018, the voice of parliaments returned to G20. In 2019, it moved to Japan, in 2021 to Italy, in 2022 to Indonesia, in 2023 to India, and now to Brazil. Next year, the P20 will be celebrated in South Africa. And here we are today celebrating Legistech as a side event of the 10th G20 Speaker Summit. This is a very wise decision by the organizers, whom I propose to try to repeat every year in every place where the P20 is held. AI is undoubtedly part of the agenda of the international parliamentary community, but its transformative power is so important that it is now studied and analyzed in all areas of human activity. There are 2 aspects, one related to how to take advantage of AI while dealing with the challenges it poses, an aspect in which national parliaments and parliamentary diplomacy play a central role, and another, much smaller and simpler aspect, which has to do with the use of AI in national parliaments to adjust these institutions to modernity, and at the same time, improve their functioning and performance. Legistech is related to this last dimension, the one that concerns parliamentary administration. As much as we try to analyze how to introduce AI into our national parliaments and project its true impact, the truth is that our institutions are not equal. and in many cases, not even similar. It is obvious that the differences come from the history, culture, educational level, the quality of our human resources, and our capabilities in economic and financial terms. But they also come from our level of progress, our political system, our institutions, and our interests. I would like to ask you to think about whether introducing AI into the national parliament of an autocratic country is the same as introducing AI into the national parliament of a democratic country, whether it is a quality liberal democracy or a flawed democracy. It is extremely important to address this framework of political analysis before the strictly technical evaluation of the type of AI technological solutions to be introduced in our national parliaments. I believe that in this sense, AI poses something more than the introduction of new technological solutions. What it poses is a kind of new society and institutions whose success or failure will depend on the political framework in which they are developed. For this reason, just as the IPU created, together with 7 other prestigious institutions, a tool with 7 goals to define when a parliament is or is not democratic, and if so, to define its democratic quality. It is also necessary that when analyzing the introduction of AI in our parliaments, we do so taking as a parameter these indicators, the dimensions to which they belong, and the goals that are pursued. In this sense, it is appropriate to ask ourselves before each AI solution is implemented, is it going to make us effective in fulfilling our mission? Is it going to improve our accountability processes? Is it going to guarantee greater transparency? Is it going to allow our parliament to offer society real answers to its needs? It is going to promote greater inclusiveness. It is going to encourage greater citizen participation and commitment. It is going to improve the quality of parliamentary representation, or is it going to worsen it? These are the kinds of questions we must ask ourselves as a preliminary step to incorporate AI solutions in our parliaments, and in this way verify whether the answers are aligned with each of the goals that Parliament should pursue to function in the most democratic way possible. The assessment tool has within its goal a series of dimensions. Each of these dimensions in turn is made up of different indicators and different criteria for their evaluation. From my point of view, national parliaments must build an AI policy articulated with their nature, their mission, their vision, and the strategic goals to which they adjust their operation. And it is inappropriate for them to do so in a circumstantial and even disorderly manner, devoid of these considerations and prior frameworks. Furthermore, a new AI policy should be the starting point for a new and renewed process of modernization and technological innovation that will guarantee an improvement in the indicators that make each of our parliaments more democratic institutions. Perhaps because of my expertise as a scholar and researcher, I have such a demanding position when it comes to requiring order, transparency, and above all, greater plurality and effectiveness in the parliamentary sphere. Unfortunately, the hyper-presidential regime under which our chambers traditionally operate undermines fluid and genuine dialogue on administrative matters. Most of the structural administrative decisions are adopted by the speakers and not by the chambers. In this context, it is very difficult to develop AI policies that are not only effective, but efficient, but also long-lasting. This is very important. The speakers of the national parliaments of the G20 and the European Parliament are primarily responsible for leading the parliamentary modernization and technological innovation processes. That should include today, in an imperative matter, an accurate evaluation that envisages a specific parliamentary AI policy. In 2020, our Chamber of Deputies created New Technologies Lab that aims to integrate advanced technology and artificial intelligence into legislative processes, thus promoting modernization, digital transformation, and optimization of legislative work. in December 2023, the government changed it and the lab was discontinued. This is not exceptional. The Office of Science and Technology, which responded to the attempt to build a model of evidence-based legislation, was also abolished. The Committee for the Future, launched in 2019 in the Senate, and therefore quite avant-garde, was also annulled. So in a short period, different speakers of both chambers of our National Congress decided to create and destroy different organizations' initiatives from their predecessors. Instead, in 2016, two important legislative institutions were created by law: the Parliamentary Authority for Transparency and the Congressional Budget Office. Although their formal existence is warranted, their actual function is not necessarily warranted. The first mention was never put into operation, and the CBO, on the other hand, is one of the new institutions with the greatest potential in the Argentine Congress. Dear colleagues, nowadays, despite the technological revolution the world is experiencing, our parliament currently lacks a modernization and technological innovation plan. We have no one. As a positive sign, I can mention the efforts of the Senate's Training Directorate to train staff on the potential of AI and some of its applications, such as ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot, among others, stand out. To date, around 180 employees have been trained in 2 4-hour courses, which combine face-to-face classes with the use of a virtual teaching platform. Another positive example is what we are doing, or we are going to do, with the AI guidance for parliaments developed and published by the Westminster Foundation for Democracy. Through an association between Universidad Austral, my university in Argentina, and the Hans Seidel Foundation from Germany, we invited the Senate to launch together the Spanish version of that guide for the Spanish-speaking parliaments of the world. We expect to do this before the end of the year. Lights and shadows. There is a lot of work to be done, but to do it well, parliamentary institutions must plan their policies correctly and work based on the democratic principles and values on which their political systems are based, in an open and articulated manner with the different forces of society, mediating short, medium, and long-term perspectives. It would help us a lot if the results of the debate of these legislative, Luis, these legislative meetings were formally brought to the attention of each of the P20 members and the IPU, its secretariat. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.